Bob, Connor Letourneau, San Francisco Chronicle. What are just your initial thoughts when you see that you guys got the number two pick?
Just think Steph Curry delivered as usual. I don't know, happy. I suppose it was going to be 1 through 5, and two's about as good as you can get. So we're happy, and that's the initial thoughts. I could probably use some better adjectives, but we're happy.
Bob, how actively do you think you'll explore trading this pick, and how much do you think conversations like that will pick up across the league now that everyone knows their order top 14?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of narrative around us trading our pick and what we're going to do with it, but we don't really know anything at this point. We found out half an hour ago that we had the number two pick, so that's the first step as far as getting some clarity. And now it'll be, do we like somebody there? I mean, it's we don't entirely control the draft, but all I'd like is two guys to be happy. So that makes it a little simpler. But I have no idea whether what the value is of that pick, how much people covet it, and I don't think I'll know that anytime soon. That's something that might play out over the next couple months. But it is usually the number two pick is it's pretty good. So I imagine either we'll be happy or with I think we'll be happy with whatever route we take. I think we'll be pretty happy about it.
Hi, Bob. This is Wes Goldberg with the Mercury News. Now that the draft order is set, what are just sort of the next steps as far as the draft evaluations?
Yeah, we've never really been here, so I joked a little bit, but all you have to like is two guys. The next step is really, I think, like I said, a lot of people are talking about trades. The first thing you have to do is find out how you rank your board. What's our order? We have ample time to do that. We've been doing that already. I don't think we've ever had more time or more runway to figure that part out. But now we know what pick we have. So whether that means more virtual contact with certain players, whether that means more meetings, probably internally, more film, we'll be able to focus more. I mean, the gap between the fifth pick and the first or second pick, it narrows your scope. It certainly narrows your scope. If we had the fifth pick, I think you're looking at a much broader range of guys. So not that we won't have a big group, but it does make it smaller than the number 5 or even 4 pick. So it's time to kind of really focus. There's no more, I wonder what pick we're going to have. We know what pick we have, and we know that there's just one team in front of us. So it makes it simpler in many respects. And it's going to also depend on what kind of access we get. And I've discussed that earlier. The league's still sorting through what kind of interaction we're going to be able to have with players, and based on that, we'll move forward. And I think there's hopefully going to be some more information on that at some point, as far as how we can view players, whether in our facility or in person somewhere else. And we'll see where the league goes with that too.
There was a report today that, there's talk about the free agency getting bumped all the way back, a few weeks past where it's currently projected at. What do you like that? I mean, do you want free agency to be as far away as possible so you kind of know the financial situation, or would you rather have like a firm date?
I just want them to get it right. I mean, it's hard to answer that question in isolation, Anthony. There's so many factors in play as far as when the draft will be, when free agency will be, and why they will be the dates that they are. I think the more information we can get, the better as far as economics. And I think that's something that everybody's aware of. It's no secret. The league and the union are going to figure that out. I trust how they've navigated things so far. Just got back from the bubble yesterday, today. Got back today. It's pretty unbelievable. So there's some wonderful leaders. Obviously, Adam Silver at the helm, with some really high quality people at the NBA, and they're going to figure it out. And that's the beauty of this league. They've been able to figure out what's best for everybody, our fans, our teams, our players. And But Anthony, once those decisions are made, I think we'll just accept them. I can't sit here and pretend to know what's right or wrong because I don't have all the information. But when we draft, we'll clearly know what pick we have. That's about all I know at this point. But the most information we can have would be the most beneficial.
Ethan Strauss, The Athletic. Bob, I'm curious. You went to the bubble. What was your objective at the bubble? What was the purpose of what you were doing, and what were you doing there?
Yeah, I mean, I told some. It's a good question. One, I want to see what it was like, just to experience it. Obviously, I'm not in it. I wasn't in it. I don't go inside the bubble. I kind of peer through the outer lens of the bubble. But for me, pro scouting. I'm a big in-person guy, and so I got to see 12 games in 3 days, and see all the teams. So I saw 16 teams play, and usually as a general manager, we don't do a lot of pro scouting. So for me, I only see teams when we play them. And obviously the season got cut short, and certain teams I never saw play. If we played them on the road and hadn't played them at home, I don't know if we had seen every team from the East or if we had it or not. But it was tremendously valuable for me to be out there for those two reasons. And then also, look, the league is constantly changing, and just to watch what's going on in the playoffs. It's different than last year's playoffs. Next year's playoffs are going to be different than this year's. You're watching it too. And I want to have the best chance of understanding where the league's going and our competition. And last 5 years, we were able to kind of have a front row seat. But when you're in it, Ethan, it's harder to be objective. When you're watching your team, it's hard to watch other teams and be able to focus on it. We're so focused on our own journey. So it was nice to go in with no pressure. Clearly, we're not in this race, but it also gave me some clarity and the ability to sit there and watch uninterrupted a lot of basketball. And the last part is I like watching basketball. The only thing I know is that I like basketball. So as much as I can watch it, I try to do that.
Was there any argument to be made that number 2 is better than number 1, because we all know what type of, pressure follows a number 1 overall pick for pretty much his entire career?
Yeah, I mean, people can make that argument. I don't know. It depends. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, there's a scrutiny to 1. I think that's no secret. But that doesn't mean it's not a good thing to have. But yes, there's people will remember who the number 1 pick is. But if you were asking me, would I take 2 over 1? No, we probably do that. Sometimes guys thrive in that. Sometimes they don't. Probably it's more upon the player. I guess it's also, I guess for a team too. You're judged completely differently, I suppose, and having the number 1 pick maybe as opposed to number 2, even though it's just one spot lower. So I don't know. I guess 1's always what you want, but highest we've ever had is, or I've ever been involved with, is 7. So this is even completely different than that. 2 and 7 are night and day, in my opinion.
We talked a little bit about this the other day, but now that you have the pick and it's number 2, how much of a say will Steph, Clay, Draymond have in whether or not you keep it or whether they want to potentially put it in a deal and get a more veteran piece in here?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I feel like they've earned a right to say whatever they want. And I've also earned the right to listen and do what we think is right too. And it's a mutual respect. And they've never been, they've always been cooperative and thoughtful. And whether it's a minimum player, that's their opinion. Sometimes on trades, that's their opinion. I mean, when guys win 3 championships for you, I think they deserve that. Now, it doesn't mean they're the GM or the main scouts or the assistant GMs of the team, but 1 year Draymond kind of sat in on the draft. Clay, I'm not sure Clay sometimes weighs in, but not that often. And even Steph, I mean, I hope we've earned their trust at this point in time. I hope they've liked what we've done. We haven't been perfect, but I think we've given those 3 guys some good tools to go out and win with. And I think that they would say the same thing. But as time passes over the next month or 2, sure, I'm happy to talk to them about what they think they like or don't like, or whether it's this pick or our mid-level exception or our TPE. I happy that they're the ones out there playing, and I view their opinions as information too. I mean, they're the ones that know these players on the floor. So I think it would be a mistake not to hear what they have to say and be an audience for that. But I don't think they are the type, nor do they want to have the responsibility of pushing us in a direction that we don't want to go in. That's not something they've ever done before. So I like talking to those guys. It's collaborative, and we'll see what their opinions are as well. But they do a good job of just doing their job, which is going out and playing and obviously playing as well as they have and bringing 3 championships to our fans and our organization.
Good evening, Bob.
Last Money Pool.
Good evening, Bob. This is Chris Thomas from Semi Pro Media. Now, as you guys approach the NBA draft, are you guys looking more for a big man approach? As we can see, the James Wiseman, Isaac Okoro, those are 2 guys that could really benefit you guys down low. Or are you guys trying to go with more of a outside game approach, like with LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'm honestly, I don't know right now, because somebody smart told me the other day, don't make a decision until you have to. We don't have to right now. So we haven't. We have not made a decision on who we're picking, what we're doing, because we have a lot of time to figure that out. And my hope is that we can sit and watch all the players that we're interested in person, that we can interview them in person, that we can get a chance to look at their medicals. We have had none of that yet. Best we've done is done a Ring Central call with a few of them over virtually. So it's too early to say. I use the example of you don't hire someone over a virtual interview and pay them $30-40 million. Ideally, you don't do that. Now, it may come to that, but we're going to exhaust every opportunity to get as much access as we can. Right now, we don't even have measurements, accurate measurements for a lot of guys. The hope is that we get that. We don't have medicals. So those things matter. There's a ton of things that we have seen on film and seen in person with some of these guys, but there's a lot of things we haven't seen. So it's hard to say right now. I feel like the answer is incomplete. And so we need to figure it out and take the next couple months to do that.
Gotcha.
Bob, it's Monty Poole. Last year, there was pretty much consensus that Zion was going to go number 1. This year, that's much less consensus and a lot more even evaluations among the top 3 or 4 or 5 guys, and then you fall into another group there. You have a board. You won't tell us who you're going to pick. We understand that. But on your board, is it much difference between 1 and 2 this year as it would have been, say, last year?
Well, I mean, I can't say anybody's names, but 1 and 2 last year, both pretty good. But yeah, look, I think yeah. You're asking how much gap there might be between how we rank 1 and 2, and
correct.
The answer, Monty, is, and I'm not trying to deflect here. I don't know what the gap is, because I'm not. It really does matter. One medical is huge. Right? It's a big deal. And I know it's not an attractive or exciting thing for people to talk about, but it does matter. I mean, this is a big investment financially. These players aren't making $2-3 million. They're immediately starting off at $9-10 million. And that player, that's a big investment. It's a big opportunity. You want to get it right. And health matters, as we all know. But I don't know. I think that there's obviously a lot of time to try and decide that. And on draft night, we will have that answer, or maybe a week before, maybe 2-3 weeks before. But this is really unusual. I mean, normally, we'd be at the combine right now hearing what number we had, and we'd probably already have what a guy's wingspan was or what an MRI said about him. We probably would have already sat down with the guy in Chicago and interviewed him 3 feet away. We would have already done all those things, and we haven't done any of those things. And the draft would be 1 month away then, but now it looks like it's 2 months away from now. So I don't know. I really don't. And that's the truth. And we better get it right when the time is right. But we have a little bit of time to till that time comes.
Bob, this is Vince Gould from Yahoo Sports. I'm curious how much the financial uncertainty of the league moving forward, how the cap is going to look, free agency and everything else, how that moves forward. How does that affect if you're taking a player or if you're trying to package that for a veteran who may be a little more expensive?
Well, I mean, I'm lucky to work for Vincent. I'm lucky to work for some guys that have been in the tax a few times, and have spent a lot of money. We've always had a high payroll, but our players have performed and produced for us. Obviously, we didn't get it done this year. That's why we're getting the number 2 pick. But they've always put winning in front of making money, and I don't think that'll change now. Who knows what the economics look like? I don't. Nobody does. But we want to win. We're watching this bubble, and we're not in it. And we're competitors. We want to get back to the playoffs. It's hard not being in the playoffs. So we're going to be aggressive. We're always aggressive. And the good news is the rules, whatever they are, it's going to be an even playing field. Everybody's playing by the same rules, and that's all you can ask for. We'll wait to see what those are. But again, I want to mention how I completely trust whatever rules come down from the league. I mean, they do a tremendous job, and I think we'll have a great shot to do a lot of different things once we figure out the landscape.